Perfect. We start in just a second. Oh, perfect. So welcome and thank you so much for joining today's online talk on the Camino de Santiago, its history, its roots, and I will give you some tips and travel advice. My name is Felicia. I'm from Berlin in Germany, and I'm with the CaminoWays team for over a year now. I'm part of the Sales and Customer Service Department, and I will be leading you through the presentation today. I did my first Camino last October, and it was a great travel experience, so hopefully I can share some of my experience with you and convince you to also do part of the Camino. Perfect. Great. So here you can see our very friendly and international team. So we're from all over Europe and actually from all over the world. We have a few people from South America as well. This picture was specifically taken on our office opening party. We moved to our new office in the heart of Dublin over a year ago now because we're quite a big team now. And for everybody who's aware of the location here, we're just a couple of minutes away from St. Patrick's Cathedral. So for everybody who is in Ireland and who wants to say hello, you can just pop in to our office and get to meet us. Perfect. So I will just go over a summary here, what I will be talking about. My colleague Eva is with me and she will be answering your questions while I talk. We have plenty of time at the end to go through some of the questions that are not answered at the time. So first of all, I will tell you a little bit about what we do at CaminoWays before I introduce our top routes to you, and then I will tell you a little bit more about our services. I will give you some practical tips and advice about your entire travel experience with us, and then we will talk a little bit about the weather. That's the big question, and I will also let you know how to get in touch with us, and at the end we're going to have some time to answer your questions. That's perfect. So let's start. So this is just to give you a little bit of an idea what we do at CaminoWays. So we offer walking and cycling tours on the many Camino routes that there are. Usually most of the walks are self-guided, but we have specific routes where we offer guided tours as well. So if you are a little bit unsure if it's your first Camino, we recommend to maybe join a guided tour for your first time. And then if you're more comfortable, you can walk self-guided. We provide the walking notes and maps as well, so it's usually never a problem to walk self-guided, and most of our clients do that. So we have a special groups department who take care of larger groups, for example, student groups, or you might have heard of the Corley Camino, which is actually, it's a radio presenter on Ireland's channel Today FM. And he arranges a group with some of his listeners to go on to the Camino. And it's taken place this year for the third time. Just a second, please. Seems like we're having problems with the audio. Let me see. Let me just see. It says I'm connected. So we're just a second, please. We're just getting a message here that the audio.
Okay, from this person. Okay.
Okay. So apparently some people hear me, others don't. Is that what we hear?
That seems to be the case. Yeah.
Okay, that seems to be. I'm really, really sorry. I hope. Well, I keep continuing. Otherwise, let me know if nobody can hear me anymore. We try to do something about it. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, the Corley Camino is something we arranged this year as well. That's something that the groups department will take care of. And they also arrange charity fundraising. So this is kind of their work, whereas the FIT department, where I'm working for, we take care of clients like yourself who want to walk self-guided. For everybody who is based in Ireland, we arrange talks throughout the country as well. If you want to get the chance to meet us, and if you're around, we have the talks listed on our website, so check it out if you're interested. And also for our Irish clients, we arrange Sunday preparation walks when the weather is a little bit nicer. To get to meet us, you meet a few people of the team. You kind of figure out how a walking day will be on your Camino, and you will enjoy the beautiful Irish countryside. And lastly, we also take part in walking festivals. For example, last year and this year again, we were part of the Kerry Camino Walking Festival in the west of Ireland. Few people from our team were there and did the walk actually themselves with a couple of other people. So we got very great feedback from our clients who did that. So we're looking forward to joining this year again. Perfect. So now to give you an overview over the Camino. So usually when people hear or talk about the Camino, they think about one big route, where it's actually a network of different routes leading into Santiago. So you can see here we also have other routes starting in France, but they're all kind of leading west towards Santiago, and more specifically to the cathedral in Santiago, where the shrine of the Apostle St. James is located, and he's thought to be buried there. So this is the reason why Santiago is actually the most popular finishing point. All the routes that you can see here are the routes that we offer. So we offer walking and cycling tours on them, and that's usually throughout Europe. So in France, Portugal, Spain, and also Italy, we also offer walks in Ireland. The French way, which you can see here in the middle, the kind of green-yellow route, is the most popular one. I'm going to go into further detail later on. And in 2015, we launched the Portuguese Coastal Way, which goes from the south up, and the full northern way. And we had plenty of people traveling on those routes, and we got very, very good feedback on it. So hopefully I can give you some information that will convince you to go on one of those walks. Okay, perfect. So this is just to give you a little overview on the most popular routes. The figures for 2016 are coming out in the next couple of weeks. So at the moment, I have the figures for 2015. Over 262,000 pilgrims reached Santiago in 2015. And this is only the number of people actually finishing in Santiago. So this does not take into account other people who walk different routes or who stopped at an earlier stage. So you can see that the French way actually has about 65% of all the pilgrims, as it is the most popular route. The Portuguese the Portuguese way is the second most popular route with about 15% of pilgrims, and then the other pilgrims are spread out through the northern way, the original way, and the English way, which you can see here as well. Perfect. So we start with the most popular route, the French way, which you can see here. It's the yellow route, leading all the way from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France to Santiago in the west. It's about 800 kilometers altogether, and it's divided into 8 sections. And if you complete the full walk, you will be walking through a lot of very, very nice countrysides. For example, you will start walking over the Pyrenees before you walk into the Basque region. And then around Logroño, you will be walking through the Rioja wine region, which is actually very famous for its popular wine. It's actually one of the best wines from Spain. Afterwards, you will walk through the flat midlands, the so-called meseta, before entering the Galician woodlands and farmlands. And then there's another smaller mountain range around Ocebrero, which you have to pass before you get to the last 100 kilometers from Sarria to Santiago. So that's the most popular section that I will go into further detail. There are actually many different reasons why people do this pilgrimage. Obviously, there are spiritual, religious, or cultural reasons for that, but also other people just want to have a break, to get away from everyday's hectic life, and it is a very, very nice, different type of holiday if you're looking for just a break. Okay, perfect. So here's some more detail about the French way. As I said, it's around 800 kilometers, and it's available between April and October if you're doing the full walk. It's suitable for a medium level of fitness. So we actually rate our walks at a difficulty level between 3 and 5 usually. So 3 would be suitable for moderate fitness, 4 would be already quite challenging. And we have a few that are actually very, very challenging. They're more technical, routes, they would be rated at a level of 5. So this walk, the first section actually over the Pyrenees is quite challenging, but afterwards it gets a bit flatter. So what I already said, the most popular and also called the beginner Camino is the last 100 kilometers from Sarria into Santiago. And that particular section is available all year round. So we actually have people walking this around Christmas as well. Now the weather can be colder, it can be rainy and windier, but you can, if you really set on walking in winter, you can definitely do it as well. We have the option to do this section over 6, 7, or 10 nights. So the normal distances range between 13 and 23 kilometers. There's one walking day around 29 kilometers, which is a little bit longer, but you have the option to split that walk. And on our self-guided tours, we arrange accommodation, meals, and luggage transfer. So we also have, on this section, we have the option to walk on a self-guided tour as well. And we arrange the same services for the guided tours, except we also include a walking guide, obviously, who will accompany you, and we also include airport transfers. Guided tours on this section are available between April and October, but they are very, very popular, and we only have limited spaces available. So if you are keen on going on a guided tour, we recommend you rather let us know sooner than later in order to secure your room. For example, the April tour is already fully booked, so you can actually check availability with us or on our website. Perfect. So the second route I would like to introduce to you is the Portuguese way. It goes all the way south from Lisbon towards Santiago. And the more popular section would be rather from Porto to Santiago for the last 2 weeks. It was established in the Middle Ages, and you will be staying in some lovely seaside towns, as you can see here in the picture as well, but the route is mostly inland, and it's relatively flat, so there's not much elevation included. We'll just show you a little bit more about that route. If you think about doing the full route, it will be around 600 kilometers all the way from Lisbon into Santiago, and it's available from March to late October. The highlights on this route are definitely lovely cities like Lisbon, Santarém, and Porto, just to name a few. There are plenty more lovely seaside towns that you will be passing. And as I said, also here the most popular section is the last one from Tui to Santiago. Actually, the terrain on this last section is very similar to the terrain from Sarria to Santiago, so it's a good option to avoid crowds. The French way can get quite hectic, for example, around May and September. So if you want to avoid those crowds, we recommend to walk from Tui to Santiago, and you will also finish there then. That option is either 7 or 8 nights. And so we also have the longest walking day split on that section. Perfect. So the next route is the Portuguese coastal way. So that's a variation of the classic Portuguese Camino. It was also established in the 15th century. So the reason for that is that the Portuguese coastal way will lead you through an important town called Póvoa de Varzim, which the classic Portuguese Camino does not pass. So this is why this alternative route was established. And it is actually also obviously called the coastal way, but it is partly coastal and then turns further inland towards Santiago. So on our next slide, you can see here first our very lovely picture of one of the towns where you will be staying in. If you do the full walk from Porto to Santiago, it's a total of 260 kilometers. It's divided into 2 sections. So each section is about a week, and it's also available between March and October. The walk is quite flat, and it's also suitable for moderate fitness again. However, there are some of the walking days which are a little bit longer, so this might be the tricky part, even though the terrain is flat enough. As I said before, you will be walking along the coast from Porto to Bayona, which is the first section, and then partly along the coast on the second section. So for about 2.5 walking days from Bayona to Santiago, you will be walking along the coast before you turn further inland towards Santiago. So it's actually a very nice mix of terrain that you have here. Also, the second section is more popular because you finish in Santiago, and you will be walking along some really nice beaches which are also suitable for swimming. So this is a very good route to do in the summertime because there's a nice breeze. And also on this route, on the Bayona to Santiago one, we have guided tours as well, which are available in April, May, June, and September. And we have a bit of a special tour here, which we introduced last year for the first time. That's the women-only tour. So we have 2 of these going this year as well because we got really, really good feedback on it. So if you're interested, just let us know. We have a few spaces left on both of them. Here are just some more pictures of that lovely walk. In the bottom right, you can actually see a picture of a bridge in Puente de Rande, which was the largest suspension bridge at the time it was built. There's just a note on the side. Perfect. And then the next route I would like to talk about is the English way. You can see it goes from the north into Santiago, and it was originally established from British and Irish citizens who came into Spain via like across the sea. So they landed into Spain by boat in either Ferrol or A Coruña, which you can see. So the starting point for this Camino is Ferrol, and it is about a little over 100 kilometers into Santiago. And also here you will see a good mix of terrain. So you will be walking partly through seaside towns, for example, through Betanzos or Pontevedra, and the second half is more rural. So this is actually not a very crowded Camino, but it's very, very nice if you would like to walk on a quieter route, and it is very popular around Easter. Here in the bottom right, you can see a picture of the Colli Camino, which I mentioned earlier. So last year they actually walked this route from Ferrol to Santiago, and this picture was taken before the group set off at Dublin Airport. Perfect, and here you can see. So this route is about 120 kilometers, so you walk over the minimum of 100 kilometers that you need to complete for your walking certificate, but I will get back to that later. It's also available between April and October, and it is suitable for medium level of difficulty as well. So you will be walking through rolling countryside. However, the tricky bit is there are a few days that are around 29-30 kilometers. And we have one split option here as well. So it's either 7 or 8 nights. And the highlights are here that you will be walking along the coastline of Ferrol and Pontevedra. And then Ferrol is a very famous place for the Easter celebrations. And this is why we have the guided tour. We have one guided tour on this Camino, and we have that around Easter time in order to see the Easter celebrations. On the next page, you can actually see here on the right, there is a picture of those Easter processions that they have in Ferrol. And we have one of my colleagues, Andrea, on the team, who is actually from Ferrol. So if you have any questions, she will be happy to answer them. Perfect. And then the next route is the northern way. You can see here it leads north from the French way, from San Sebastian into Santiago. This route was also established in the Middle Ages, and the reason for that was that at the time the Moorish armies were on the French way, and the French way actually became quite dangerous. So this route was established as a safe alternative. And you can see that it is divided into 5 sections here, and it would be, if you were to cycle it, it would be 2 cycling sections. So obviously when you cycle the Camino, you would cover more distance in a shorter time frame. So all of the routes that I've just introduced are also available for cycling if you're interested. In general, we recommend cycling more for experienced cyclists who are familiar with routine bike maintenance, because the terrain can be very tricky for cycling parts. There will be parts where you have to push the bike or have to get off the bike. So, but if you're interested and if you're a keen cyclist, we can definitely give you some more information on that. Perfect. And here you can see a little more detail about this tour. Sorry, the picture is a little bit over the font. So the full route from San Sebastian into Santiago is around 800 kilometers. It is also available from April to October. And on this route, the first section from San Sebastian into Bilbao is actually quite challenging. That's due to its elevation. So for this route, we say it's a varying level of difficulty. So the first one would be rated at a difficulty level of 4 out of 5, whereas the second section from Bilbao to Santander is probably most popular because then it gets a little bit flatter. The highlights, as you can see here, you will be walking through lovely towns as, for example, San Sebastian, which was the European Capital of Culture last year. You will also walking through Bilbao, Santander, Ribadeo, and then you will see or discover the Basque culture and much more. The Northern Way is also known as the food Camino. So just because you walk through so many seaside towns, you will actually enjoy fantastic seafood, and we get lovely feedback from our clients. So the distances on this route are a little bit longer. So this can be the challenging part of it. And the first 4 sections are along the coast, whereas the last section into Santiago will be inland. So this is just to keep in mind. Perfect. And then I will tell you something about our services, so what we at CaminoWays actually do for you. So first of all, we have our customer service team helping you before and during your trip. If you have any questions at all, you can always get in contact with us, either via phone or via email, whatever you prefer. And for the time when you're on the route, so while you're traveling, we do have a 24/7 assistance number. That is kind of there for any kind of emergencies, and our lovely colleagues from the reservations team, they do speak all the local languages, so they will be able to assist you if there's anything at all wrong. So we will actually, as I said before, we will book your accommodation. This is always private accommodation with ensuite bathrooms, so we don't at all work with the hostels. Usually it is standard accommodation. I will get back to that in detail. But on some of the routes, on selected routes, we have superior accommodation or country cottage accommodation available upon request. We also arrange the luggage transfer for you on your walking days. So that means that you have 1 item per person that you can leave at reception in the morning, and we will bring it to your next accommodation. So that means that you can actually comfortably pack for the day only, and you walk with a smaller day pack, and the rest that you don't need will be put into your suitcase and left at reception, and we take care of that. Meals are included, so it's breakfast each morning, and then we book dinner in the smaller towns, unless you want to book on a breakfast only basis. That's also possible. Then you can make your own decision on where to eat in the evening. We will send you a holiday pack before you go, and that will contain all the important information like walking notes, maps, your accommodation information, the luggage tag and the pilgrim passport, as well as some general information. So before you actually walk, you're all set, you know where you're going, and if you have any questions that are not answered at the time, you can just let us know. We also can obviously arrange extra services, for example, bike rental if you were to cycle, or airport transfers and so on. Just let us know whatever you require, and we can see what we can do for you. Perfect. Then I would just like to say a few more things about the guided tours. So as I said before, we have them available on specific routes only. So for example, on the French way, on the first and last section, then on the Portuguese coastal way, on the last section as well, then on the English way, on the Finisterre way as well. And we have some available in Italy as well on our Via Francigena. I will not go into much detail about it, but you can find all the information on the website. As I said, there is limited spaces available on the guided tours, so we recommend to check our website for availability to make sure that we still have it. And we do have also a limited number of single rooms specifically. There are only about 4 single rooms per guided tour, so you can check that with us before you go. There's one special guided tour that we have, and that's the walk and coach tour. So this is a tour that will go partly by bus coach, and then you walk shorter distances. So it's between 6 and 10 kilometers per day. So it's more suitable for people that definitely want to see part of the Camino, but that are not into long walking distances. And we have 2 of these available. this year, and this route will start in Leon on the French Way and go all the way to Santiago. So you will cover a bigger distance, but you will see the big cities, for example, Leon, Ponferrada, Sarria, and Santiago. So it's more a tour of sites with a little bit of walking included. And you have obviously the walking guide who will be there for you, and you have lunches on this specific tour as well. Okay. Perfect. Then back to the accommodation. So the accommodation that we arrange are usually smaller family-run hotels or guest houses. So as I said before, they're all private accommodations, so you never have to share, and they have ensuite bathrooms. Now, our staff visit the hotels on a regular basis to make sure that they're up to standard and that we provide the best available. And they've recently visited all the hotels on the full French Way, just to make sure that everything is up to date, because this is the route that's mostly booked. So we did that late last year. And then the accommodation for the guided tours is always standard. So the guided tours are always sold as a package, and there are no upgrades available, whereas the self-guided tours, they're more flexible, so we can do upgrades there if requested. Also very important for us is that you give us feedback after you return, so we can actually have a look into your concerns if there are any. So we always try to improve our services, so that's actually very helpful for us if you send that in. Perfect. And here you can see two types of upgrades. So as I said before, our superior accommodation would be a mix of hotels, paradors, and country cottages, which are guest houses. Here on the left, you can see the Parador in Santiago, which is a 5-star luxury accommodation. It's an old monastery, so many people actually like to upgrade their last night to kind of treat themselves a little bit after a long walk. So it's quite a popular one, and it's right on the square of the cathedral as well. And on the right-hand side, you can see one of those country cottages. So they're actually located a little bit off the trail. They're a little bit more remote, but they have a lot of character to them, and they're very, very nice and considered an upgrade. So if you would like to be a little bit to yourself and not stay directly on the Camino, we would recommend to go for the country cottage option. And this is available on the last section of the French Way from Sarria to Santiago. Perfect. And then, as I said before, I would like to tell you more about the Pilgrim Passport and the Compostela, as this is actually one of the most important things for people walking. So the minimum distance that you have to complete in order to get your Compostela is 100 kilometers walking or 200 kilometers cycling. And along the way, we recommend to collect about 2 stamps each day into your, which will be stamped into your Pilgrim Passport. It's called the credential. You find lots of services along the route where you can actually get them stamped. So, for example, your accommodation, cafes and restaurants and churches and cathedrals will all provide the stamps. And then when you arrive in Santiago, you can go to the Pilgrim office, hand in your passport with the stamps, and you will get your walking certificate. That's called the Compostela. Actually, it is actually for many people, it is a very important part of the Camino, because it is kind of a sense of achievement. If you look back over the stamps that you collect during the day and you return from a long walking day, it's actually very nice to just collect those stamps. And even I kept my Camino passport. I didn't want to get the certificate. It's just very nice to look back over it when you return. It's a nice memory. Perfect. And then I have some practical fitness tips for you. So as I said before, the average daily walking distance is around 20 to 23 kilometers. So we usually say it would be an average of 6 hours walking per day, whereas this obviously depends on your pace, on when you start and how many breaks you take. So that's really just an average. The good thing is we have routes available for all kind of levels. So we have routes with tricky and long distances, then we have the medium routes, and also we have one route on the French Way as well, which is an easy walking option. So you can stretch the Sarria to Santiago bridge over 10 nights. there's only 9 walking days then, and the distances are between 10 and 15 kilometers each day. So if you're a little bit unsure about the distances, if you think the 20 kilometers average seem way too challenging, we would recommend to go for this option. We have a fitness guide available on our website and on the link that you can actually see there. You can download that there, and we have some YouTube tutorials as well, so this is actually quite helpful in order to prepare for your walk. So usually what we say is start to train consecutive walking and then make your distances per day longer in order to see what you're able to do. You usually have plenty of time before you book and before you go, between you book and before you go, so we recommend to actually start practicing as soon as you can. And also on the website you will find a section with travel tips. You can also download our packing guide, because this is also a question that we get a lot, what to bring on your Camino. There's some helpful information as well. That will actually lead me to my next point. The weather and when is the best time to go on the Camino is nearly the biggest question we always get. In general, we say travel between spring and autumn. That's the best time to go. Now, the summer months, let's say June, July, August, can be quite hot. So if you want to avoid that, that's an option, or you go rather on the coastal routes at that time because of the breeze that you will find there. However, if you're doing the French way, for example, on the northern way, you are walking in the north of Spain, so it will never get as hot as in the south or in the south of Portugal as well. The weather can vary a lot, so we always recommend to bring rain gear as well, and even during the summer months it can always rain. So we recommend to definitely bring waterproof clothes like a foldable rain jacket, and if you check out the daily weather forecast, you can just put your rain gear in your suitcase if you don't need it for the day. So that's definitely something we recommend. I was very lucky when I was walking from Sarria to Santiago in late October. We did not have any rain at all, but it's always to be expected. Perfect. And then lastly, just to remind you how you can get in touch with us. Obviously, you can go onto our website, CaminoWays.com. You can have a look into all the routes, and you can see the breakdown of the walking distances and some more information about the towns where you will be staying. You can also get to a contact or quote form on the website and get in touch with us. On the website, as I said, you can download our ebooks. So there's the beginner's guide, which has some very useful information, the packing guide and the fitness guide, and we also have a phrase book. You find the YouTube tutorials and the fitness tutorials there as well. Don't forget to sign up to our newsletter if you haven't done so already. So if you register with your email address, you will receive our newsletter with the latest news and with some special deals that you shouldn't miss out on. And then we're also present on Facebook and Twitter if you'd like to follow us there. Also, our part of our team and our clients write some blogs, which you can find on our website as well. So that's kind of to read a bit more about the experience that we had. And then obviously we're available on the phone as well. So since we're based in Dublin and Ireland, we're available from Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's GMT. So if you're in a different country, pay attention to the time zone, but we're always happy to help you out no matter what your question is at all. Perfect. And then just lastly, just take down our email address. So it's info@CaminoWays.com to get in touch with us directly, and then we're happy to help. And actually, since you took part in this online talk today, we are happy to offer you a 10% discount if you take down the following code. It's online Camino17. If you let us know that you took part in this talk, then we are happy to include a 10% discount for you. Perfect. Well, that was basically it. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope this was informative for you, and sorry about the bit of a tricky start. I hope you were able to see and hear me. Yeah, I hope I answered most of your questions already. I could see that Eva was typing, so I suppose you had some questions during the talk. if you have any other questions right now, I will take a couple of minutes to answer them. And if anything at all comes to mind afterwards, just send us an email, give us a call, and then we're happy to help. Perfect. So we start right now. Let's see.
If you can't read it.
No, that's all right. Let me have a quick read through this. So the question from Darlene that we had is there a minimum number required for a tour to happen? First of all, so that's the first question. Referring to the guided tours, yes, there is. It's usually a minimum of 6 people required in order for the tour to go ahead. The guided tours are quite popular, so we always hope that they do go ahead. And last year, most of our tours did go ahead. And we give plenty of time to book, and also we will push the tours that are still missing 1 or 2 people. We will push them in the newsletter. And if it ever happens that a tour cannot go ahead, we will, obviously at this stage you have booked, so we will be able to offer the same tour as a self-guided tour, or you can obviously get a refund in case you don't want to travel. So that's the option. Let's see. Exactly. Well, we do usually recommend to book your flights first before you confirm with us. So flights actually we don't arrange, so you have to book them separately. Obviously, if you have booked your flights and you are part of a guided tour and it happens that the guided tour doesn't go ahead, we can see what we can do for you. We can obviously offer the same services as a self-guided tour, what I already said, or we will try to find a suitable tour for you in case you don't want a refund. Hope that answers your question.
What kind of shoes do you recommend?
Perfect. And then the question from Esther was, what kind of shoes do you recommend? This is actually a very good question. We get that question all the time. In general, I want to say, wear the type of shoes that you're comfortable wearing in. So don't buy new hiking boots the week before and then start walking without breaking them in. That's the biggest mistake, and it leads to blisters. So in general, for most of the trails, we do recommend shoes with ankle support. So if you have something like light hiking boots, that is usually fine. Heavy hiking boots can slow you down a little bit, especially during the summer, but something with ankle support is recommended because there will be parts that are a bit rocky or slippy, so you want something that definitely supports you. Do you have another question? Let's see. The question is, what would we need to know in order to arrange an airport transfer from, let's say, Biarritz to St. John? Now, in general, the airport transfers, it can be that one from Biarritz to St. John or from Santiago Airport to Sarria. All we need to know is basically how many people are going and what time your flight arrives so that we can arrange the airport transfer and it will be there on time. So the way we do it is that usually the airport transfer will pick you up about 15 minutes after your arrival time, so you have plenty of time to go through customs and to pick up your bag, and they will wait with the Camino sign in the arrival hall in order to pick you up. So if you are interested in an airport transfer for your specific route, let us know what airport you're flying into, and we will give you the cost for that. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for the moment.
That's all we have for the moment, as Eva told me. So, yeah, I hope we answered all your questions and you enjoyed the talk and it was informative for you. If you can think of anything else at all, just let us know. We have one more from Connie.
There's more.
There's more now, so we take a few more minutes. So the first question from Connie is, what are the temperatures on the last 100 kilometers in September? Now, May and September. Yeah, exactly. We have some information about the weather on our website as well, so you can actually go into the route and see that there. Specifically for that section, May and September are very, very popular due to the weather. It's not as hot as during the summer months, but milder, and the chance of rain isn't as high, so this is why most people actually decide to travel then. Now, just a note on the side as well, if you think about going in May or September on the French way, book well in advance because it actually gets booked up. It gets booked up quickly, and last year we had many, many people traveling at that time, and we already have many bookings for this year. Perfect. And my colleague Eva just sent the link there to the where you can see the weather forecast. And then we have another question from Esther. The question is, do you recommend bringing your own food for lunch during the walk? Yes, we definitely do. Depending on what route you take, there are services usually along the route where you can buy things for lunch, but we always recommend to definitely bring enough water and some snacks in order to always have something there when you need it. And there might be a longer stretch where you don't have any services, and if you're really hungry, then obviously that's not very convenient. Usually you get breakfast in the morning, so eat plenty in order to be prepared, and then in the smaller towns we arrange dinner in the evenings once you arrive.
Track poles?
Track poles is actually another thing, that's true. They are helpful if you are, let's say, walking over the Pyrenees or over mountainous terrain. Also, we do recommend to only walk with them if you're used to walk with them, because it can actually change your pace and the way you walk. So definitely try them out before. But my colleague Catherine from the sales department did the first section from St. Jean Pied de Port to Pamplona over the Pyrenees, and they both had walking poles, and they said it was very, very helpful. So I hope that answers that. Okay, the question is what is the handiest airport if you're starting from Sarria? The closest airport is Santiago de Compostela. It's about 120 kilometers away, and then you could usually take a public bus back to your starting point in Sarria. It's about 2.5 hours, and it goes via Lugo, so you have to take a connecting bus then in order to get to Sarria. Madrid is another option, though. Many people that come from abroad are flying into Madrid. There's also a bus and a night bus going from Madrid to Sarria. Just the travel time is longer, it's about 7.5 hours. We have that information on our website as well. If you click into the route, you can actually go onto the Access tab and you can see what airport is the closest. Let's see if we have another question. Perfect. And another question about the airport. So if you think about starting the French way in St. Jean Pied de Port, what is the best airport, Paris or Biarritz? Biarritz is the closest airport. So we definitely recommend if you're flying into Paris, to take a connecting flight to Biarritz. That might be the quickest and also sometimes the cheapest option to get there. From Biarritz into St. John, there is public transport available, and there are also airport transfers available. So at the moment, we can do two options. We either have a shuttle bus, which goes at a set time, or we can arrange a door-to-door transfer for you. So just let us know. Let's see if we have another question. Yep, that's the same. The closest airport, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
And this one.
Let's see. Yes, exactly. And again, a question from Raymond here regarding the hiking boots. Yes, light hiking boots would be recommendable in July and August. We have people also walking in, let's say, in trail runners. It is possible as well, but I personally recommend definitely something with ankle support. So if you have light hiking boots, that is the best option, I suppose. And we have one more question. What is the weather in late March? Let's say I speak about the French way, so we have already many people walking in late March. Now, if you're thinking about Sarria to Santiago, that is already a very good time to go. The other sections of the French way are only available from April onwards. So basically, if you think about doing the first section of the French way, we would recommend to maybe even wait till May, because if you're walking over the Pyrenees, there could still be snow, and the government actually closes the route before April. So if you want to be on the safe side, maybe go a little bit later. Perfect. I think that's it. If you have any other questions, just send us an email or give us a call. And thanks again for joining today's webinar. And I hope we will all hear from you soon. Thank you.